I'm an idiot. I'm the dumbest person around. I'm so stupid. Sorry, guys. It wasn't even a trick or a treat. I should play it off right now. I should play it off and be like, oh my god, I got you. Oh man. Oh man. I should probably get more sleep. I'd be out here live streaming to nobody. I'd be out here live streaming to nobody. There was nobody here because I wasn't live. I was not live on my own YouTube channel because I'm an idiot and I forgot to push the button on the computer. These are the worst lyrics to the song we've ever heard. I know, I was here talking about my least favorite and most favorite candies already! It's unbelievable. So dumb. I'm waiting till the end of the song. I must absolutely have a song at the beginning of the episode. It has to have a song. There's no lyrics to this song. I haven't written any words to this song. Is this the end or is this the fake out? It's the fake out. We've been faked out. We've been tricked. We've been duped. We've been duped by whoever this is. We got tricked. We're going to give them a treat. Tricks and treats and tricks and treats. Oh yeah, the song's about tricks and treats. Wow, it's the end of the song. Push the button. Got it. Are we live? Oh my god, somebody please verify that I'm live on the internet this time. I've been talking to myself for quite some time. I'm so stupid. I'm the stupidest, dummiest dum-dum you ever met. This show is brought to you by me being an idiot. Welcome. It's Halloween. It's Halloween 2022. 2022, the year the vaccine allowed us to come out into the open again. You know? Yes. My gosh. My God, you guys. I've been out here. I've been live streaming to myself. Yeah. I'm a special boy today on Halloween, on All Hallows Eve. I'm a real special case. See, I got to explain something to you here at the beginning of this program, whatever this program is called. There's a button. There's a button, and you got to push a button that you go live with. You got to push a button, and then you can go live onto the internet. So you don't accidentally just go live and, like, not have your pants on or something. You know what I mean? Now, Captain Chief McDummy Dum Dum over here forgot to push said button on the internet portion of said buttoning. Therefore, we had no, we were not live, and I was really wondering why, like, super weird. Nobody's chatting. They all must just be out having a happy Halloween. That must be what's going on. Is the heat on? Oh my God, I'm gonna go punch the thermostat. I'm going to break the news to you guys. It was getting hot in here. Probably for me being embarrassed, but also because the heat was on. Not 100% sure what's going on with that thermostat. It's making it hot in here. You know? I don't know. Maybe it's maybe this thermostat was brought to you by Nelly. It might be brought to you by Nelly. It wears a Band-Aid right under its eye, you know? Okay. So, to begin the show over, we're going to give a shout out. We're going to say hi to everybody who's in the chat. Alyssa Bentley, Frank Dominguez, Joel G, new local Austin, Sky Dancer, Linda Worth, Noser, 138, who was early. I was late because I forgot to push live. And I got to keep scrolling. Where is everybody's names? Kiwi Mamo, Cody Webster, Michael Sarr, Randall Bowman, Cody Webster again. Why not? We feel good about it. We feel good. Skoggs Shrimpy McShrimperton is here. Aubrey is here. Somebody. Okay, I'm not good at that today. I'm not good at shout outs. It's Halloween. What do you want me to do? Yes. We're just chilling out and we're talking about candy. Okay. Anyhow, let's start over with wherever I'm at. I've lost my complete and utter train of thought. It went flying off the tracks because I realized how stupid I was to be live streaming to nobody. It was a good thing. Yeah. It was a good move. I like mounds. I always forget they exist. I like mounds. Those are good. I like mounds because they have the dark chocolate. If something has dark chocolate, I'm going to win. Top tier candy list is dark chocolate Reese's Peanut Butter Cups for me. If somebody gave me those, I'd be like, oh my God, thank you. Thank you. That's so nice. How did you know? How did you know I wanted dark chocolate Reese's Peanut Butter Cups? That's so nice of you. Oh my gosh. And then I'd probably give them a kiss on the face because it would be Vicky. She would do that because she's so cool. She's the coolest. I hope you guys know that. Kind of like those black and orange peanut butter kisses. Those are kind of weird. But they're not bad. Yeah. Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, I think, is the top tier candy. I think it always is. That's the first that is gone from the bucket of candy every year. That's the first thing. Like, oh, where's those? They're all gone. They all got eaten. There's those little orange packages. They stand out, and people can grab them super quick, and they eat them all. What's left, though? I think top-tier candy is great and everything, but I think it's more a question of, like, which candies should no longer be produced because they're just the only thing that's left in the bag after the bag's been out for a week. You know? Like when you get that big bag of mixed candy at work, and then a week has gone by, and then all that's left in there is, like, Three Musketeers. And, like, what else is left in there? If there's Mike and Ike's in there, or no, not Mike and Ike's. What are those? What are the ones with licorice on the inside? They got licorice on the inside and candy on the outside. What are those things called? Those are always left. Those things are so gross. That's a gross out candy madness. Yeah. Yeah, those are so grody. I don't even know what those are called. Let's see. Candy on the outside. Candy on the outside. How do you spell licorice? Licorice on the inside. The heck are those things called? What are those called? They're so gross. I can't believe how gross they are. Oh my God, they're disgusting. What are those little guys? Good and Plenty? Isn't that what they're called? Good and Plenty? Yes. Good and Plenty is disgusting. This is trash. This is a bottom tier, trash tier candy. Ugh. Beginning around 1950, a cartoon character named Choo Choo Charlie appeared in Good and Plenty television commercials and convinced people to buy the boxes in which they would eat one of the candies and then throw the whole rest in the garbage and light the garbage can on fire. Yeah. I may have changed the second sentences out of that the statement there. Tuberoos, red color, white fondant filled, sour licorice sticks. This doesn't sound good either. Okay. Anyhow, moving on, you stinkers. Yeah. Anything that's just colored and flavored sugar or gummy candy is a barf for you. Yeah, I like if you had like lime gummies or something like that, or like those like fancy gummy bears. You ever tried those fancy gummy bears? What are the fancy gummy bears? Fancy gummy bears. Fancy gummy bears. What are they called? Popular gourmet gummies. Oh, you can order them individually. Look at this. You can order them a la carte. I shall have only champagne bears. I shall have only apple frogs. But first, rosé roses. This is... What are they called? There's like Albanese. Yeah, there they are. The Albanese 12-flavored gummy bears. And I think the big deal here is that like every flavor in the Albanese... Is it Albanese? Am I saying that right? Every flavor is a top tier. What's the flavors? Hold on, where's the list? What the? Oh. It's Grandma Sue. Grandma Sue was talking to the dog. I was like, what is that? Let's see. All gummies. Where's their flavors? They have a flavor list? What? Just give me a list of your flavors. Oh, my God. Their internet website is so confusing. Ultimate 8-flavor bears. Is this the ultimate? Read more. Alfonso mango, Amity raspberry, Asian pear, black currant, blood orange, crimson cranberry, Fuji apple, and queen pineapple. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like, those are all top tier fruit flavors. Blood orange, black currant, Asian pears, raspberry, cranberry, pineapple, mango. You know what I mean? Like, these are all top tier flavors. What do we got here? I think that's why these gummy bears are the best. Like, you don't have any trash flavors in the bag. And you don't get tricked. You don't get tricked into eating something like cherry. Like, ugh. Cherry. Ugh. Oh, this one has they actually have a cherry flavor. I would throw those out the window of a moving vehicle. The cherry ones. You know, like one at a time. And it'll be like, I bet a bird's going to come down and eat these. But I think the gelatin's probably... I guess the sugar's bad for a bird, but I guess the gelatin would be okay for him, right? I don't know. What do I know about anything? I'm just some guy. I'm just some dude. Bros. I got to tell you. I'm just some dude. Anyhow. Okay, let's get off the candy topic. It's just, we don't even own a candy factory, right? We need a candy factory. Okay, guys... I have an assignment. Go start a candy factory. Yeah. Yeah. And make only top tier flavors. Like, we have no need for cherry flavor. Like, cherry flavor doesn't need to be in the bag. That's what I'm saying. Okay, moving on. I smell like wood. I smell like sawn wood. I hope you guys know that. I reek of pine, Douglas fir, wood shavings. I'm covered in sawdust. That has been the excitement of my weekend. Hopefully, if you guys are members and stuff, we've been posting updates. What is this? We're getting a raise in costs. Okay. Raise in cost email just showed up in the mail. Great. Thanks for the email, guys. Okay. Where did my window go? I lost my window. Okay, so I smell like sawdust. I reek of sawdust. I've been sawing wood for the last solid 2 days. All day Saturday, all day Sunday. Except for the fourth quarter of the Seattle Seahawks football game, which I managed to sit down and watch the Seahawks beat the New York Football Giants in a football match of the ages, of the century, of the week. So it was very exciting, guys. I know that you guys are excited about it. I'm excited about it. Everyone's excited about it. Why is my light all weird? I tried to make it Halloween color, but I think it's just kind of pink back there today. So why would I do all of that? Why would I cut up all this wood? I've been cutting up logs and lumber. You know what I'm saying? So we had the trees felled by guys that are the professionals, right? The guys that bring the trees down in between the houses and grind up all the brush, clear up all the ground. They do all that. That was an extraordinary expense. It was a terrific amount of money. They didn't even grind the stumps. You know what I'm talking about. It's a lot of money to get those trees down. It was $3,600, in case anybody is wondering, to bring those trees down, to grind up all the branches and the brush and clean up all the brush off the ground. And they were supposed to cut up all of the trees that were not within the size that I had provided them. So anything that was bigger than 30 inches around is what I told them, and anything that's smaller than 8 inches around to cut up into firewood, and then they would get rid of it. Well, they left the firewood on the ground where it was, which is annoying. They didn't cut up any of the logs that were over 30 inches, so they left those. They didn't move any of the logs around at all. They actually just dropped them and just left them on the ground, and then they were like, yeah, there you go. There they are. And admittedly, like, I'm not really mad about it. I guess I'm just kind of disappointed that it's like, hey guys, we paid you for all the labor to cut up all of the trees into firewood and get rid of that firewood. I don't want the firewood, but they were supposed to carry it all out so that it could get picked up, right? But they didn't have to do any of that because I asked them to leave, 12-foot sections of tree or whatever around there. And I would take care of them. So I feel like the offset cost there was, hey, we paid for the labor for the trees to get turned into rounds, which means you stand there with a chainsaw and cut it up, slice it up like you're slicing some cake. Then you take those chunks of log and stack them out by the road so that people could come and pick them up with their pickup truck and take the loads away to their house and then do whatever they want with them once they have them. Typically what people do is they split the logs and stack it up and then burn it as firewood later. But they could do whatever they want. I'm not judging. If you take away the free firewood, you can do whatever you want with it. That's fine by me. But they ended up just leaving them on the ground. All cattywampus, too, I got to admit. So I was a little bit pissed that they didn't kind of... It's weird because I think most people would look at it like going the extra mile. But I think it was more like just making good on what you had promised to do. That's how I felt about it. I don't know. Did they get the trees down? Yes. Did they cut all the branches off and grind them up in the grinder and get rid of all of that? Yes. They left us one load of chips because we're going to put those out in the garden beds and stuff. So we have that, which is good. Steamy pile. Which reminds me, I gotta shoot some video of the steamy pile, right? Because it's a giant pile of compost, essentially. So it steams in the cold weather out here. But, I was a little bit upset about it, but there really wasn't anything I could do. So the whole time I was thinking, all right, all of this wood is going to get turned into firewood. That's a bummer. It's going to cost a lot of money, but we'll just move on. We'll move along. We'll just be moving along. Those trees will be out of the way, and we'll just move along. Now, about a week and a half before They were going to cut the trees down. I finally found somebody who has a mobile sawmill. He's actually the dad of a good friend of mine. And so I was like, hey, can I hire you to come out with your sawmill? And we're going to do some I got this wood. This wood's coming down. And do you want to mill it? You know? And he was like, yeah, let's do that. Like, okay. Now, we got an old guy. So he told me he was 69 years old, and I don't doubt it. We got an old guy with years of knowledge about wood and lumber and milling and cutting down trees and doing all that jazz. So I was very excited. He was very excited, apparently. I didn't realize that he was very excited to come cut wood with us. And so come Friday night, he was already headed this way. Because I had told him ahead of time that I was like, hey, if you need to crash here on, like, Saturday night, that's totally fine. So, but Friday, he was on his way up. He was like, look, I didn't want to get stuck in traffic. I wanted to be here, and then we could start early on Saturday. I was like, all right, dude. Right on, man. Here we go. So so he stayed here on Friday. We got up at 5. My usual time of getting up. Well, that's actually sleeping in for me, but that's my usual time on the weekend, right? And we get up, we get going, kind of realize it's still dark out, and it is probably too early to start in the neighborhood, so we just hang out and had coffee until we could start making noise. But we got the mill set up. We got the stuff going, and we just milled lumber all day. And then Joey came to help. Joey's an awesome guy. Thanks for the contribution. Yes. Am I saying that right? Am I saying that word wrong? I feel like I'm saying that word wrong. Thanks for contributing. I don't know. He put in a lot of work. Something like 20,000 steps. We got a lot of steps on. We got a lot of steps on Saturday and Sunday. Sunday was like 12,000 or something. But we got a lot of steps. We did a lot of work. Shot a lot of video. We got a lot of video about it. So I'm just giving you guys the synopsis right now. You will see a video coming out on this YouTube channel about cutting down trees. So we're doing that. It's going great. I got a massive pile of lumber, and I still have a massive pile of logs. Oh, yes. You think we cut up all of the logs? No. We had 17 logs altogether. I was unsure of how many logs there were going to be. We had 17 logs altogether. And currently there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 logs left. So whatever 17 minus 8 is, we got through. Is that 9? I feel like it's 9. It feels like 9. My back hurts. But 2 of the logs that are left are far too large to get onto the sawmill. Does that make sense? Probably not. Probably doesn't make any sense to you guys. They are too big for us to physically put them onto the sawmill. To get them up and onto the sawmill, it's too much. It requires too much power, okay? Far too much power to get them onto the sawmill. We don't have that kind of power, okay? These logs are too big. But the other logs that we have left are quite large also, but they are prime. They are prime perfect lumber, but I'll tell you this much. All of the pieces of wood that we cut this weekend are all high-value pieces of wood. We cut big timbers. We cut wide timbers. We cut siding. We cut tons of live-edge siding. I cut a bunch of we cut a bunch of bookended pieces to make a gigantic picnic table. This thing will be 11 feet long and 4 feet wide, and it's 2 pieces of wood stuck together and 4 inches thick. It's very heavy. Each one of those is very heavy when you're exhausted. I didn't try to lift them today, But yesterday we moved them around, and then by the end of the day, it was like I can't move these we couldn't move them anymore. We're like, we're gonna leave those right there because I'm not looking forward to trying to move those right now. So we got a lot of high value cuts. We got a bunch of cool stuff coming down the pipe, and I'm very excited for it. What's been the most challenging part of the project so far, from Sarah, who is a brand new member, by the way. I believe a gifted member, which I appreciate. The gifted membership. Oh, that reminds me. I got to update our member count. We lost a member. I don't know what happened to him, but we lost one. We went down to 92. And Patreon will process tomorrow because it's the first of the month, and we'll probably lose a whole bunch because that's typically what happens. People's expired credit cards and all that kind of stuff. But a big thank you to everybody who's maintaining their continued support of this channel. And a shout out to anybody out there who wants to occasionally send me a message that says, I wish you would make more plant videos on this channel. A quick reminder to anybody out there, you could easily sponsor telling me to make videos if that's what you want. Otherwise, I am trying my best to make them. I currently have a garage with 0 fish tanks, which makes it incredibly difficult to make fish tank videos. So I am getting there. It is a big mess, but I'm getting there. I swear. I will admit I'm a little tired. I'm so tired. I started the stream today streaming to nobody. I was streaming to absolutely nobody. So it was pretty good. But thank you for your continued support. And moving on to that question, what's been the most challenging part of the project so far? Okay, the most challenging part of the project so far is not having time. Having no time is the biggest challenge that I have every single day. Every single day is just a lack of, I have not enough time to do all of the things that I want to get done. I continue to get to the things that I need to get done. So luckily the needs are being met. So that is fine. And that means that I'm doing okay. All of the needs are getting done, and all of the wants are slowly happening. So that is good. Like today's a perfect example. I had a bunch of errands to run this morning because I didn't have a chance to do any of them really last week with work, with the trees coming down, with the cancer stuff, with Vicky's cancer stuff, with Olivia, my daughter, and the tree, everything. There just was so much going on that I had to do a bunch of errands this morning, which all worked out fine, except for I got the wrong thing and had to go back to, okay. But no one cares about that. That's not a good story. No one cares about that. And then I had to get a haircut because it's been a long time since I got a haircut. Did that. Then I had to cut up a bunch of the lumber that was all the leftover stuff for people for firewood. So I'm giving away a couple loads of firewood to whoever needs them. I put the flyer out there, and nobody's hit me up yet. And if they haven't hit me up, I'm going to put a free sign on it, and then somebody's going to get them. Somebody will come load it up for free. So I got that done. That was the thing I needed to do today on top of the other stuff. I got some of my framing done, and then I ran out of time. I was like, I got to do live stream, and then when the live stream's over, I got to go pick up Olivia because we got to do Halloween stuff. So we're going to go do trick-or-treating. We're going to do that, which is great. I'm not going to miss out on that. So the fish room will just sit there this afternoon, So it's that's the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge is not enough time. There just isn't enough time in the day to do all of the things that I want to do. But like I said, luckily all of the things that have to get done are getting done. So that's good. So that's a positive to back up against the negative, right? The negative is like, there's just not enough time. They're just, oh my God. So, but making progress on all of the need stuff. All of the need stuff are getting done. So that's pretty rad, right? So I can't complain about that portion. Yeah. Does that make sense? But it's just the time in the day, dude. I just really, really, really don't have the time to get everything done. And nowadays, I don't know about you guys, but it gets dark at like 4:30. And then this weekend is like daylight savings time, so it's going to get dark even an hour earlier. Is that how that works? When you fall back, 6 o'clock is 5 o'clock, right? So if it's getting dark at 5:30, then it gets dark at 4:30, right? How that works? I'm pretty sure that's how that works. Am I backwards? Spring forward, fall back. Spring forward, fall back. It's weird. Is this the last year, though? I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be the last year. This might be the last year of the daylight savings time. Oh my God, we got a gifted membership. No, sir, 138 got gifted membership. Oh my God, look at that. All right, we're back to 93. We were down, but thanks to Rumbus, we're back up to 93, baby. Back to 93. And by the way, I'm 100% convinced that the gifted membership is the way to bring this channel back from the dead. As I mentioned, it's like, and I know that people will be like, oh my God, that's unbelievable. I can't believe he says that. I can't believe he could say that. But the reality is, like, a majority of my time is spent working and taking care of Olivia. And if more of my time is YouTube working, then I will make more YouTube stuff. You see how that works? Yeah, and I think that's the reality. But it's definitely we're bringing this channel back out from the dumps, slowly but surely. As a matter of fact, I got I didn't offload the time lapse to play on the stream today, but I was reviewing. What was I reviewing? Where was it? Is it this? Is it this? How long is this? That can't be very long. It's only 6 megabytes long. Must have been me just pushing the button. What part is this? How we doing so far, Joey?
We're doing good.
It's your first day milling logs.
I'm doing good. Good experience.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can hear, right? We got video of milling logs. It's brilliant. What is this video? Oh, look at that. Look at that, logs and lumber. You can't see it. Only I can see it. I have to review it. I might have dropped an F-bomb in there or something. Let me see. I wonder if I can show you guys this. Let's see. Let me get my window. Oh, I know how to do that. Hold on. If I go like this and shrink it down. I can shrink it down. Right? And then I can add it. I can add source, scene. No, it's not live scene. What is it? Where is it? Is it desktop capture? Why is it doing that? That's weird. Well, let me see. Is it this? Oh, it's via. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I can put this guy up here. Look at this. Then I can even make it smaller because it doesn't need to be this big on my screen. Then you guys can see it. Watch. Let's go like this. It doesn't look very good. As an overlay, that doesn't look very good. Because you guys can see all of this stuff up here. That's not a very good screen capture situation. Why did it get so big? It got big again on my screen. I don't know why. Oh, I scaled it. That's why. Watch. Yeah, but you guys get an idea. It's like, you go here, and then you're like doing work, right? And then you have like this little, because I have to cut out, like however many of these I have to cut out. I don't know. It's a lot. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I have to cut out a lot of these things, and then you go like, oh, I made a time lapse of that, and I'm cutting these, and then I'm cutting those ones, and then I'm cutting the other ones, and then that, but then it's 45 minutes my time, For you guys, you're like, like, look at that. It was a time lapse, TikTok style, But for me, I'm like, oh, I'm getting tired. What is this? Is this showing up for you guys? You guys can't see this. It's vertical. Oh, you guys can. Okay, good. You guys can see this video, right? Having to get some raw footage of some of the warehouse plantage, right? It's always good times. Guess who made these racks? I did. Although now they have a manufacturer that makes the racks for them now. So, definitely shooting a lot of video and getting things sorted out. What is this? This is a weird video. I wonder what this is. Sunday morning. Got to drive down and... what am I talking about? Got to drive down and pick up some new aquarium stands, Oh. Which is cool. Although... This was like the first cold day. It's a little cold. This was the first cold day. You can see all the frost on the window. 42 and check out the baby seat in the background. Look at that. Which I think in certain parts of the world you would think it was on fire outside, but here... Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, making videos. Making videos about stuff. What is this? There's a weird video here. What else do we got? Oh, this was the drilling video. Yeah, we've been drilling a bunch of tanks with the rookies. All right, so the first one doing the fine. Rookies. The second one tanks. Turns out was tempered glass and it shattered. You guys saw it shatter. Shattered that one. Crazy. We broke a tank. We broke a couple tanks and stuff. So I'm making videos. We just got to put them together. That's the big problem. So I'm offloading all of this video today. I have a bunch of different clips in here of that will be video stuff. And what is this? Is this a time lapse? This might be a time lapse. Let's see. Nope. Not a time lapse. Just a short video of going, hey, here's the chaos. But this is from a couple weeks, maybe a month ago. This is from a while ago. Looks different now. But you guys can see things coming along, right? So yeah, things are happening. There's so much stuff happening. But yeah, that has to be the hardest part of everything going on these days is that I just don't have enough time. The day runs out, and then I got to take care of Olivia, and then I'm supposed to sleep, and then I'm supposed to, like, whatever. You know what I mean? It's like there's all these, like, things that you got to do. And, like, if you don't sleep, you're going to die or whatever. I heard about that. Somebody told me about that on the internet. They were like, dude, you're not going to make it if you don't sleep. And I was like, dude, why do I gotta sleep? Where's the time lapse? I was trying to click on the time lapse because that one's pretty cool. This isn't a time lapse either. Where's the time lapse? Does it look different in these video files? It should like. Oh, that's because this camera didn't. I didn't shoot any time lapses with this camera. That's why. So when I did the So when we did all the logging, I shot 2 time lapses with the other little cameras. As you guys know, I use these little I don't know where they are. They're hiding. So I use these little cameras. These little guys. Some people use some people out there use GoPros. I use the DJI version. Oh no, I have look at this. I can advertise it because this is the advertising box. The DJI Osmo Action 3. It's like a camera that's like it shoots videos. Like a push button. You push the button and you make a video, man. And then look at you. You're out there wandering around. making videos with your video cameras. I have to admit, the Osmo Action 1, which is like a little GoPro knockoff, but it's not a knockoff because it's from DJI. The guys that make drones and everything. It's not really a knockoff, but it's like a GoPro, if that makes sense. It's a little waterproof camera. The first version was awesome. Unbelievable. The second version was a dumpster fire because they totally changed everything about it. They innovated, and they innovated in a way that did not bode well for the product, I guess, would be the way to put it. Although I thought it was really innovative. So let's say that. But it didn't do well. But this number 3 version that has come out, it's a replacement of the little one. The original number 1. This is the original number 1. This is the original number 3. And they look like a little GoPro. They're amazing. They kick ass. I really have no notes. They do more stuff than I think they're even supposed to be. Livingston Custom is asking, does the DJI one have better video than GoPro? Okay. They have essentially the exact same video. I have seen some super nerds do side by side. Just these like super detailed, crazy breakdown of the video, and it's like the GoPro is like slightly better. But I'll tell you this, the DJI compression is way better in my opinion. They're waterproof. They have the quick release thing. They do 4K 120 field of view. They do this horizon steady thing, so like as you're wobbling around with your camera, it keeps the horizon steady. They just work great, and they're much more affordable than the GoPro ones. So the GoPro is like $500 basically. It's like $429, and then you got to buy some extra parts on top of that. Whereas if you buy the Osmo Action 3 it comes with a stick, extra connectors, extra batteries, a battery charger, all that kind of stuff, it's $429. So you get all that accessory stuff at that base price of just a GoPro. So, and I think that they work fantabulously. I had them on I had them out in Peru, the original version, and they work just as well as the GoPro did. Oh my God, we got 5 gifted memberships. Oh my God, we got to update. Aubrey has gifted 5 memberships. Uh-oh, what are we doing? What's going on here? Okay. Oh, I got to move my... Oh God, we got to update. We have to update before it expires. 94, 95, 96, 97, 98. Oh my God, we're 2 away from triple digits member-wise, guys. 2 away. Oh, and I moved my video. Look at me, fancy guy, moving the video. We are 2 away from 100 memberships. We're 2 shy. If we get to 500, I'm getting the Moist tattoo, and I'll make a YouTube video about it. How's the battery life on the Osmo 3 compared to the first one? Quite good so far. But actually, one of the crazy things about the Osmo 3, if you buy it with the accessory stuff, you get 2 batteries and a battery charger. And I think buying an extra battery is like only $19 or something like that. The extreme battery or whatever. But that little case works as a battery of all 3 batteries, right? And you can take the plug from those 3 batteries and plug that into the camera. It's crazy. So previously you would have had to swap the batteries into there, or what is going on? There's chaos. You would have had to swap the batteries or whatnot, but you can actually just plug into the battery charger, and it uses the batteries in the charger to charge the thing. And the the battery or the camera itself actually has a quick charger built into it. So if you run the battery all the way down and you plug it into the quick charger, it gets to like 80% battery charge in like 10 minutes or something crazy. It charges up to 80% like wicked fast. Like, and one day I actually tested that because I was filming time lapse on some project. I forget what project it was, but I was filming time lapse. The battery ran all the way down. I was like, "Word! I can finally test the rapid charging." So I plug it into the 30-watt charger. It's just a USB-C, and in like 10 minutes, it was like almost full again, or 15 minutes, something like that, 10, 15 minutes. It was like basically full again. So, yeah, it works surprisingly well. So I've been pretty happy with it for sure. Yeah, Aubrey, thank you very much for the gifted memberships, my guy. I 100% appreciate it, dude. I got one of those a few years back, and it works great. Yeah, that's right. The Osmo One works great. So, like, my guess, or the Osmo Action One, you could probably find these for like $125 or something like that, because they were selling for like $200 before the 3 came out. So you could probably find one of these, or maybe even just somebody that knows me could DM me, and I could probably just sell them one, because I can just do a factory reset on it, because I got extra old ones. And my plans with those is that Zach is going to buy one, and Olivia is going to get one. One of them is going to be Olivia's little camera, because she, believe it or not, loves holding a camera in front of her and going around. I don't even think she knows what she's doing. She just likes to look at the screen, and she thinks it's awesome. She thinks it's radical. I don't even know if she knows she's recording anything, but I like getting the video from somebody that doesn't even realize that they're recording video, and they're 3. She's almost 4. Man, time's flying. What do we got? Rebecca Lowry says, wait, what's going on? You're in the hospital? From the hospital? What's going on in the hospital? Why are you at the hospital? Becca, why are you in the hospital? What is going on? Erna Pickery from Belgium. Hello. Hi. Good to see you. Extra hour in the fall. Yeah, we get an extra hour, but like, isn't 6 o'clock is 5 o'clock? Is it later? Is it lighter later? Is that what's going on? So if it gets dark at 6 o'clock and we turn the clocks an hour back, doesn't it get darker earlier? Oh my God. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my marbles. Huh. I don't know. I'm glad the update train is running. The update train. I can't today. What? Been here since Wednesday night. Sepsis and not quite MRSA. Oh my God. Man, I'll tell you. I had MRSA like 20 years ago. 17 years ago. I'm trying to figure out the date. 2005? One of the girls I was dating at the time worked at she did a bunch of volunteering and work. No, she worked at a homeless shelter and was a waitress. Yeah. She was a waitress and she worked at a homeless shelter. One of the gals I was seeing, and she apparently got MRSA from work or somewhere else. I'm not 100% sure. But I did manage to catch it from somebody. But luckily, that person told me quite early that they had been diagnosed with MRSA. So I went in and got swabbed. They did a bunch of swabbing. Very similar to the OG COVID swabbing. They like went way up my nose, and they were like in there doing that, getting stuff. And they were doing tests, and they were like, holy crap, you do have it. Okay, let's We got to run you through the treatment gamut. And then I went through it. And then I got tested again. And then I think like 6 months later or something like that, they tested me again. Just to make sure it wasn't dormant or whatever. But it was not fun. I was not feeling good. I'll tell you that. That's what spurred it on. I was not feeling good. Yeah, it was not. Yeah, it was a bad time. Didn't like it. 0 stars. 0 stars. 0 out of 10. Yeah, I mean, I got to remember to. Somebody could be like, oh, it must have been good. It was 0 out of 0 stars. If you don't give people the scale, they won't know. There's 0 out of 100, I guess. That's where I'll put it. Lymphedema. Oh, man. That is not fun. Okay. Not fun. Well, maybe we'll get an update from you on Discord or something. We'll find out what's going on. That's wild. Well, hopefully it's a quick recovery too. Hopefully you get out of the hospital. I do not like being at the hospital. Not a fan. Okay. Should we see if anybody wants to call in the green room today? We shall check. All right, I'm in there. What is this? Start an activity. I don't want to start an activity. All right. Phone lines are open on the Discord in case anybody wants to call in. I'll hear it if you call in. Must have missed my 911 need help post on Facebook. That is how the ambulance showed up. Wait, what? Let's check it out. Let's go to Facebook. I must have missed it. I miss a lot of stuff because Facebook is run by what could basically be described as a space alien. So you don't get a lot of stuff up in your feed. Rebecca, would help if I spelled your name right. Rebecca Lowry. Wow, I'm friends with like 5 different Rebeccas. New update on release Wednesday at the earliest. Dang. Well, actually, I was thinking today was Friday. So that's really not as bad. I thought today was Friday. I was like, dang, that sucks. But today's Monday. Okay, folks. A longer and somewhat less whack-a-mole, whack-a-doodle update. Oh, this is a long update. Okay, this is a long update. I can't read this whole thing right now. I live. Typing is a bitch. Phones are fun, but I get worn out. Okay. 911 need help. Oh my god, I didn't... Okay, yeah, no, I didn't get that post. Okay. Crazy. Oh, Alyssa's here. Alyssa, what are you doing? Hello, Chachi. It's me, Joni. Excuse me. I'm coughing at my own nonsense. Okay, Rebecca, I didn't see this post. I'm gonna read it after the show though. But I do have a load of free firewood out front of my house if you want to come get it. I know it's a long drive though. Hello, Alyssa. Are you being silent? You're in the call. Why can't I hear you? Are you muted? I think you're muted. You're muted somehow. Oh my god. I don't have you muted. Well, you'll have to turn on your microphone. Doctor, you need a microphone. Oh, you're here again. You've arrived. I can't hear you. What can I hear you? Is my output wrong? No, I have sounds on. I swear I have sounds on. What? are you doing? Coming in and out. Okay, just come in and start talking, and then I'll figure it out. I don't know. Alyssa's trying to call. She's trying to call in, but it's just not working. It says that your microphone, when you talk, your microphone is muted. It highlights that. It highlights that your microphone is muted. It says that your microphone is turned off when you talk. Because it's like your icon turns green because your voice is talking, but you're muted. So, yeah. Lymphedema is also part of my issues. Oh, man. Is it going around? It's not contagious. That's just, it's not, okay, what do you call that? It's not contagious. Because it's like your lymph nodes, right? Lymphedema is a chronic lymphatic disease that results in disfiguring swelling in one or more parts of the body. It can be hereditary, or it can occur after a surgical procedure, infection, radiation, or other physical trauma. Wow. Okay, you get a lot. In breast cancer, for example, it can appear in the arm on the same side as the cancer after lymph nodes are removed from the armpit region for cancer staging. Here's the problem. I should know this better because I'm recalling this now. That yes, that was one of the things I should be more knowledgeable about that. I'm admitting my failure to remember. Alyssa is muted for some reason. Why are you muted? User volume? Hello? I guess you turned way up. You're going to deafen people. Okay, here. Why can't I hear Alyssa? Like, yeah, your audio output's like not even. What do we do? 3 dots. No, that's that. Let's see. That. That's super weird. Why can't I hear Alyssa? Let's see. Output device. Hold on. Maybe my output device is wrong. Hello?
Hello?
There we go. My output device for some reason was set to something else.
Oh, well okay.
On top of it.
Here I was.
Because you don't have a muted
icon. My stuff was broken.
Yeah, you don't have a muted icon anymore. You did initially have the mute icon on whenever you talked. Whenever you spoke.
Whenever I made noises.
But then your mute icon went away, and so I was like, something has to be effed up here. Somehow. And somehow, my output device got switched to default. Which is not right. That's not right. That should never happen.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Don't do default, do, I don't know, manual or whatever.
How loud is it? Hold on, let me see how loud your output is. Check, mic check.
Check.
Okay, you're
Mike,
good. You were peaking before. I had to turn you down a little bit on my end. Don't worry. Don't make any changes.
Okay, that's cool.
What's happening, dude? Long time.
I know.
Long time caller. Long time caller. Long time, first time.
It's let's see. Well, it's Halloween.
It's happy Halloween, dude. I'm freaking out.
Yeah, it's Halloween down south as well.
I'm gonna be a hillbilly for Halloween. It's easy. I already wear that outfit all the time.
Yeah, you just gotta get like a piece of dry grass or whatever and put it in your mouth.
I got a cowboy hat and some shades. And
perfect.
And like a fur-lined jacket and some boots.
Oh, perfect.
I got my cute cowboy boots. I'll wear my cowboy boots.
You got your cute boots.
I got them cute boots. I got them cute boots.
Perfect.
I'll wear my.
Nobody's gonna know that it's a costume.
I'll wear my super tight Wranglers.
Oh, okay.
You know how it is.
Yeah, that's for Vicky.
I'll just be out there, let them know. Let them know, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Is it for Vicky? I mean, I don't know. I feel like we're at the point now.
You know.
I feel like all women like reach a point in their relationship where like, yeah, it's not that exciting anymore, guy. You know?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how long you guys have been together, but Justin and I have been together for almost 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah.
Oh man. All right. It's probably me then. It must be me.
Must be
something I'm doing. Or not doing. I don't know. The dishes? I did the dishes. Come on now. Is that not romantic? Is it not romantic to do the dishes?
It is one of the sexiest things that a guy can do.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like I'm doing that and it's not correlating. I don't know. Maybe I got to do some gymnastics or something. Some backflips.
Ooh, maybe. If you can do backflips, you should totally do backflips.
I mean, I could try.
Just be like, I flip out over you.
Yeah, like a birthday card from Safeway or something.
Exactly.
I flip out over you, babe.
That's how you win her over.
That's how I broke my neck. That's how I broke my neck.
I'm in traction to you. I don't know.
I'm in traction for you. Yeah. Well, so it should be good.
Yeah, for sure.
Wesley says, I'm an idiot and I missed the first hour. Hey,
Aww.
You're not as much of an idiot as compared to me, who actually live streamed to nobody for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, that was funny. We were just entertaining ourselves.
It was wicked sweet. I had no idea what was going on. I'm like, there's like nobody here. I guess everybody likes, they're all just like doing Halloween stuff or something. I don't know. They must be out. I mean, I figured there'd be a low turnout on Halloween because like it's already dark on the East Coast, right? So everyone with kids is like going buck wild out in the darkness.
Right. Oh. Anybody in the Northern Hemisphere. We're getting fewer and fewer.
Becca's here from the hospital, live from the hospital, reporting on the scene.
The hospital. Yes, that's me.
What's going on over there?
Holy moly.
I'm like, hey, I've got Wi-Fi. Why not?
Why not? Use
Besides,
that free.
I had to sing Boots with the Fur. Sorry.
You gotta use that. You gotta use up all the hospital's free Wi-Fi.
Yes. That's my job.
They're somehow charging you for it anyhow, right?
Basically.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do?
Stay in the hospital for a night and it's going to be, what, $10,000?
Yeah, I don't know. Thank God for insurance. So we're gonna continue to ride that wave.
I'm not giving this advice to anybody, but I will say this. I did 2 weeks in the ICU, and when I got out, like my insurance had paid most of the bill. Right. It was like, I don't know, $90,000 or something. They'd paid most of it, but there was like a $4,000 that they were like, no, we just didn't pay that part. Right. And so the hospital kept calling me for it. They're like, hey, you gotta pay this bill. And eventually I was like, look, you just got to stop calling me because I don't have it. Like I don't have that money. So if you're calling me, you're just calling to like chat. So I'm happy to talk to you for a little bit, but like that's all that's happening. And the lady was like, you know what? We just got to fill out some paperwork and we'll handle it. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I was like, I almost got kicked out of my house because I couldn't work for 2 months because I almost died. And I'm going back to work. So I was supposed to not work for 3 months. And after 5 weeks of being out of the hospital, I went back to work because it was like, I'm either going to be a homeless guy or I'm going to, okay, there was 3 options. I'm either going to be a homeless guy or I'm going to die at work or I'll not die at work, but there's two options there that I'm not homeless, right?
Right.
Yeah, because if you're dead, they put you in a home. They put you in this like little. It's like a little.
Yeah.
It's mobile.
Small.
It's
You
a
lay
little
there.
mobile home, but then they put it somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, it's a permanent home. You
Yeah.
get to live there forever. You own like a small piece of property forever.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an extra option. You could commit a crime, and then the state will pay for your home for the rest of your life. But that's limiting.
Yeah,
Very
that's
limiting.
no good. That's no good. Nobody likes that.
The crimes that you have to commit in order to get that lifelong home, though,
Really
those are
depend on the
pretty bad.
state you're in. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You have to be pretty bad.
Well, I'll put it this way: for like 3 weeks after I was out, all I was doing was eating food and taking these like tiny walks around. Like I would go like out, and I'd go, like maybe 50 feet from the building, and then it's like, I don't know, I should turn around now because I might live out here now, and then like shuffle back slowly to the building and like, oh, that's my workout for a little while, okay, and I'll go lay down for 3 hours now, and then I'll get up and go for a walk again, which was not even, that wasn't even a walk. It was like, so it was not fun.
That's kind of how I feel about the side of the mountain. Is I figure I'm going to end up kind of like Jack at the end of The Shining. I'm going to be in the like frozen with a just pissed off look on my face out in the yard somewhere.
Yeah,
Come
it could
off.
happen. What was the movie with the DiCaprio and the bear, whatever that was called?
Revenant. I
The
think?
Revenant. Yeah, it might be like that, where you're just like,
I'm not gonna. No hope for me of hiding in a bear. I got enough stinky stuff. I live with 4 small dogs and 240 square feet. I don't need to do that.
that's brutal. Hold on, we got a fish tank question, guys. We better get it. It's very important.
Please answer.
Okay.
I've never read this name before, Big Dog 35, but hey, says, is a sump good for a discus tank or FX4 for 180 gallons? My opinion is always go with a sump. 180 gallon tank, you're going to need at least like an FX6 for that size of a tank. And if I was going to do an FX6, I would end up doing 2. So like Murphy's new tank, for instance, at the store is like 1,400 gallons. So we have 5 FX6s we're going to put on that tank. They're all going to be plumbed in. But if I was doing a 180, an FX6 isn't enough, so I probably would end up doing 2, which is another reason why I would end up doing a sump, because you get a lot more water volume, you get a lot more media for your biological filtration, you have a lot more space for the filtering itself, plus you have space for oxygenation and all of that you really don't in a canister filter. So I would always recommend a sump, especially on a sizable tank like a 180, because you definitely have space for it underneath the tank itself. 180 footprint. I think the smallest 180 footprint is 4 feet by 2 feet. I think, and then I think they're like 44 inches tall or something goofy like that. But yeah, I would always go with a sump on a discus tank myself, but somebody else will probably give you a different answer. But yeah,
I would say that a sump is significantly less of a pain in the butt to maintain as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Canister filters are awesome in their first 6 months. The first 6 months, you're like, yeah, man, I'm going to look at this thing. You bust it open, you do your thing, and then you clean everything out, get it up, close it back up, and then after about 6 months, you're like, I don't know, I'm just gonna leave it. It's fine. Like it's fine, and it always gets pushed back until the point where it becomes like a real big chore to do maintenance on those. And plus, the parts break, and you need a specific part. With sumps, you can normally make your own parts. You can make your own filter pads. You can make your own decision on media, stuff like that. So I always just think it's much more beneficial to go with a sump. They're cheaper too, generally, unless you buy like a really, really, really fancy sump.
Yeah, and you can DIY a sump.
How much is
if you're into that?
How much is an FX6 now? Let's see. Let's look. I'm gonna look one up.
Okay.
FX6 from. Oh, that's right. We have to do a canister filter now because Sony has an FX6. They would get the camera if you look up FX6. FX4 is $300. FX6 is $370 at PetSmart, $370 at Petco. You could probably find a deal on it, but it's still going to be $400 after tax. You know, and I bought really fancy sumps with Vicky like a long 5 years ago or something. So they might be a little bit more expensive now, but I bought like a badass sump that was pre-built, and it was about $400. So probably about the same.
If you are gonna order it from Petco, you use the app first. First, use the app, pre-order it, because then if you spend more than $50 at one go, they give you 10% off.
And if you
of
use
your whole order,
you'll get a percentage back of your order.
Yeah.
On top of that 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get like, you know, Petco dollars or whatever. Those are the things you have to be watching those deals.
Yes. Totally agree.
There's a nurse. She's trying to mess with your IV.
She's getting ready to give me Lasix so that I will be completely flowing. And then she's going to give me another IV, and it'll be very exciting for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good time.
That lady's on the IV team. You know she's smart.
She is smart. She's Karen, and she's awesome, and probably not particularly on being on camera, but I love her to death. I'm not on camera. No, and not at this moment. When you're over there, you are, unfortunately, because you're right behind me.
You're on camera, but I'm only broadcasting voice for you, so don't worry.
Yes. Yeah, they can't see you.
Yeah.
I just happen to have my camera on. Everybody else.
Well, it's good to see that you're up, though, because I found out just a minute ago that you were in the hospital and everything was going crazy, and I'm like, but you seem like you're at least of spirits to not.
Well, once the fever got up to 104, and I get stupid when I have a high fever, which is probably bliss for everyone else because I'm also get silent. But shut up. I hear you laughing back there. But yeah, so, and Friday morning I kind of came up out of it and started moving again. But I have to get up and move because if I just lay in bed, I'll become a beached whale more. So, and now my IV machine is laughing at me.
And then it's on. Oh, I don't even know how to type right now.
That's all right.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad. It's so bad. I haven't typed in like a week. It feels like, at least.
That sucks.
Yeah, I've been using my hands, and I have like a ton of nerve damage in my left hand, and it has been exacerbated by doing all this logging. I'll tell you. Like,
right.
My left hand on Sunday night was just like I couldn't grab anything with it because like this whole thing right here was just like twitching and everything, and it wasn't working right. And so I was like messing with Vicky because I'm like, look, let me pick this up, and it's like, just like fumbling with it, and she's just like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know, I think it's funny. I think it's funny because it's like there's nothing I could do about it, you know. And I was, it's funny because Kevin was here, which he'll be a little bit in the video. He didn't really want to be like interviewed, but you guys will see him in the back of the logging video or the lumber video, whatever I'm going to call it.
Right.
But he was an old guy who has 1 million war wounds. You know, he just has like 30 years more war wounds than I do. and we were kind of comparing the trauma that our left hands have have experienced from being the not dominant hand, of like being in the danger zone of holding stuff while it's like I get the chainsaw running, I'm holding this thing, and the juice is getting out,
So that's what you see.
Which nurses like
need that
Karen,
juice.
I will say, nurses like Karen love me as a patient because I'm like, when I come in, they're just like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Nothing. I just think it's kind of entertaining, because we're like, oh, that's my tendon right there, is it?" They're like, "Yeah." Is that freaking you out? Like, nope, not at all. like, let's just.
Kinda
I know
cool.
you guys
We
are gonna
get
get the part. You're gonna get the parts back in there. You know how to do that, right? Yeah. So.
That's funny.
Well, I was just going to let you know, you mentioned IV team. We're such a small hospital. We such a thing. Rural nurses, we get to do it all.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
NVH, North Valley, is that right?
Yes.
North Valley Hospital in Okanagan County. Big kudos, love them at this time.
Well, we appreciate you for sure.
Well, thank you. We love being nurses here.
Yeah.
They're awesome, and I highly recommend the care. It compares with my big city hospitals as far as that goes.
Oh, good.
They all have cold hands no matter where you're at, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter where that part goes. There's just no escape.
It's from all the hand sanitizer.
I'm sure it is.
They're constantly gooping that stuff on there, and it freezes their
Well,
hands.
It doesn't help that the hospital keeps it really cold. One of my poor CNAs came in the other night with a blanket wrapped around her, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." She was cold. So anyway,
It's to keep.
Moving on.
It's. I'm sure there's a valid reason behind it, but I think it's just so that people don't fall asleep while they're at work.
well, I think probably it's more just because of cost of trying to heat and cool and do everything else in these crazy rooms.
Yeah.
I immediately come in and jack the heat up and close the door. So I'm sure that, they're like, "You can all come in. I'm just cold." So
Well, you're used to sleeping next to a fire, something that's on
right,
fire.
a wood stove with
Yeah.
dogs piled from mid-level here to ankle, and so
Mm-hmm.
under a giant comforter, et cetera, et cetera.
Mickham is wondering if I got any nice videos of the logging. So I set up the cameras to shoot time lapses while they were dropping the trees, because it's really interesting if you've never seen it before. They got a guy who climbs up and he cuts down each limb, and they put it on a rope so it'll like he cuts the limb off and then it'll go whoosh, swinging down, so it doesn't crash into somebody's house basically. So it's very interesting, but I don't know how well the time lapse looks realistically because I set up the cameras when it was pitch black out. Because when I get home from work, it's pitch black, and when I leave for work, it's pitch black out. So I probably should have set up the cameras like some days before or whatever. But like that was raining and I didn't want them to be outside, so some of the time lapse is a little bit weird because the camera's like too low, so you can't see the top of the tree. But it'll be good. You guys will. It'll make sense somehow because I'm gonna weave it all together into the milling video. I'm not sure what I'm gonna call it yet. I haven't figured out. I haven't done my search engine optimization to find out what people are searching for on YouTube. Noser's asking, does anyone know if a Marineland 60-gallon has any tempered panels? You need to check with every manufacturer if they have a tempered panel or not. And I guarantee you they will lie to you or not know. As a matter of fact, the short video I was showing you guys earlier, hold on, right here. Let's see if it still comes up. Yeah, okay, here you go. All right, so the first one went fine. The second one turns out was tempered glass and it shattered. You guys saw it shatter. Shattered like crazy, explodes. And the third one went fine. We're not staying for the fifth one or the fourth one. Third one, fourth one, tooth one, 3, 1, 4, 5. things are happening. We have action. We have action happening. Yeah. So that's a perfect clip right there that gives us a full understanding, right? That even when we call from a company to them to verify which panels are tempered or not, we still got bad information. And it's really not their fault, because you call there and you ask them and you get the answer from somebody who is trying to give you the best quality information that they can, but they don't really know what happened at the factory, when it was made, when it was assembled, how the person exactly assembled it, and they're not liable for it. So just be aware of that when you call in. They have no liability. They're going to give you the best information that they can, but you might still drill into tempered glass if you don't check ahead of time. And the way that you check ahead of time is you take polarized glass sunglasses like this. I don't think these ones are polarized, but the ones I'm wearing in that video actually are, because I went and got them after they broke the tank. Anyhow, but you take these polarized sunglasses, you put the glass out in the sunlight, and then you get it at an angle. You angle it around. If you ever wore polarized sunglasses inside your car driving around, and like the back window, you ever notice those weird waves in it? It's tempered glass. Then you'll know, uh-oh, this is tempered glass. I better not drill it. It's a weird art form that sounds weird when I describe it, but once you have done it, you'll be like, oh, check me out. I'm an expert, and maybe you can make a better YouTube video about it than I can explain. But that's just basically how you go about doing it. Silver Creek Aquatics. We're doing good. We've got Rebecca, who's in the hospital, but she's not dead. So we are on the ups. And Alyssa is in the chat also.
Yep.
She's being quiet, though.
Doing something
I'm surprised.
with water or
Yes,
foam.
I'm definitely. There's a lot of water noises coming from my.
Definitely in the basement.
Definitely in the basement. I was definitely emptying some buckets.
Solid.
Steve,
Yeah.
I feel you on the recovery. I hope you get past that quickly.
Who, me?
No, Steve.
Oh.
Bertich, he was saying that he's got bad knees and the needing to move with lymphedema and all that makes it's, yes. He was just chiming in late to an earlier conversation.
Oh, yeah. The combination of really bad knees and needing to be up and exercising the lymph fluids out of me makes for a painful recovery. Yeah, 100%. But it's the best advice I can give you is just you have to do it. I mean, I was shortly explaining earlier my workout thing that I was doing, which I just do this walk.
Oh yes.
You know, so right now I put on a little bit of weight for COVID, but I also put on a little weight because I'm going to be doing hopefully doing some big climbs this winter. So I want to kind of have an extra layer of not losing power a couple days into a big climb, right? And so right now I'm about 195, so I'm like 6 foot, 195. And at the time when I got sick, I was about 165 because I was rock climbing all the time. I was constantly working out all the time back then. And when I got out of the hospital, I was 118 pounds.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, I looked like Skeletor. So when I got out, all I was doing was eating and doing those walks and stuff. But I was basically doing the little walk-arounds like every 2 hours. Like I just had an alarm go off to go do it. But it sucked, and I really didn't want to. And then I had to do this breathing exercise thing where you have this contraption that you have to you breathe all the way in, and then you have to breathe all the way out and sustain the ball and stuff and all this weird crap. So, but it's a sucky recommendation, and it sounds like I'm kind of being a jerk or whatever. But you just got to do it, man. That's the only way.
Have cracked ribs?
What's that?
Did you have cracked ribs?
I had pneumothorax.
Oh, okay.
My lungs were collapsed. I had chest surgery. Then I had pneumonia. Then I had I had a
Ew.
bladder infection, kidney infection, liver infection, MRSA,
Right. You
staph infection, other stuff. Like, yeah, I basically was I
always
was
with the
dead.
UTI, like the final insult to injury. Oh, and by the way, you've got a bladder infection. F you.
All right, mine was from the pneumonia. The pneumonia had spread.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Yeah, and so I basically had a infection in like all of my in all of my innard parts. Basically, it's easy.
I will
That's
say
the
this
simplest
for
way to put
whatever.
it.
Sorry.
Mhm.
I will say this for whatever struck me. I literally went from this in an hour to 104 fever under a
Right.
comforter, like practically drooling when the paramedics showed up and said, "We're here to take you off the mountain." So it's fast, so I didn't have to worry about pneumonia.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the first thing they did was a chest X-ray. The two things they always assume: I'm going to have pneumonia because I'm short of breath due to my weight right now,
Mhm.
and I'm diabetic. Neither of which is true. I wave that 4.3 A1C around like it's flag. So yeah,
Yeah.
don't assume, folks.
Don't assume. But the high fever, though, that's normally like a big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
That was crazy. So we knew something was there.
That's
And
crazy.
I'd gotten the COVID booster the day before.
Mm-hmm.
So part of that very incredibly long update is me saying it's not the vax, it's not the booster. They're perfectly safe.
Right.
I don't care what your friends say. Go out and get it.
Yeah. No, you live around the
Yes.
the wing nuts. Well,
I've
not
got a
all
new
of them,
theory.
but
I've got a new theory that Oroville, my little town, is filled with people who crossed the mountains headed east and just thought they were in Missouri a little too early.
well, I think one of the big issues is, and recently something signed me up for these sort of like wingnut mailers that go out.
Great. Lucky you.
And so I've been banning it, but they keep like reconfiguring the website that they're coming from.
Right.
And I keep getting us emails and emails and emails, and then I think I figured it out to ban them completely because I banned the name of their
server.
Yeah, I banned the
Domain.
complete name of the name of their company as a keyword, right? But all of the headlines that they were sending it's just like complete unadulterated like madness, you know? It's like Joe Biden is he's a communist from China and he's trying to give you the injection, you know, and it's just like what? The guy, he's American, but what? He's a communist? He's not a communist. He's a like I mean he's a conservative if anything. Like
he's also a cloven-hooved demon from hell, but that's entirely secondary.
Yeah, and it's just like this
that
wild
he's
stuff,
actually
and
dead
I think
and a clone.
yeah, and I think one of the things is that I think enough people read enough of that stuff, they get enough of these insane headlines from these groups that aren't even regulated at all. And it just eventually they're like, oh yeah, that's the thing. That's what it is. Oh, it becomes real to them, right? And so it's unfortunate. And I don't have an answer of like how to help those people like get away from the terrible information.
Don't help. I have a friend, and she's a friend on my friends list because she is amazing with fire info. And around here, you know, if one of the fire groups has kicked you out or you're verboten, you need to be able to get fire info on the instant whenever you can and wherever you can. And for a lot of people, Facebook is the first time they even know that there's a fire in their area or an evac in their area or whatever. But she sent around that the Denver airport knew what was coming in 1995 Spooktacular that's making the list at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I send back the clear evidence that refutes it from Reuters. I'm trying to go for the most neutral fact sources possible, so I don't get back, well, you're biased versus my bias. And I finally have to stop her and say, look, you're so spot on with your checking of resources and everything else for the fires. Why can't you do this? Take the 2 minutes, much less time, for the bullshit that comes across your feed.
Right.
Sorry, the bull hockey that comes across your feed. And she doesn't, and I hope you don't get demonetized for that word. Sorry.
Well,
yeah.
no, I mean, I don't know. I get demonetized if I do a stream talking about cancer, so whatever, it doesn't matter.
Fair point. So, yeah, they feed themselves when they can't get it from some other source, and that's what drives me.
Right. Well, I think a big part of it is that opinions are becoming framed as, here are my facts, right? And a good example of that would be, what was it? Like, I don't necessarily like Jon Stewart all that much, but he did an interview with the Attorney General of Arizona, right? And the AG of Arizona, he kept doing this thing where he was going like, well, people can just come to their own conclusion, right? People can just come to their own conclusion about what's going on. And Jon Stewart kept going like, no, we're talking about the law. The law is either true or false, like guilty or not guilty, or accurate or not accurate, right? Like, that's why these frameworks exist of like, because they were talking about the election fraud and all that stuff in Arizona, because that's the guy who's prosecuting it. He's the Attorney General of Arizona, right?
Right.
And he's going like, why can't you just tell people that like there wasn't fraud here in this election, and let's be done with it? Because you go, oh well, we have ongoing ongoing investigations and da da da. And even in that interview, he goes, well, we have 20 cases of fraud that we found out of over 4 million votes, right? And you go, okay, 20 out of 4 million, like that's not zero, but also
it's not even at 1%.
Right, but it's a non-factor at all. Like, they found 20, but they haven't convicted 20, right? They're investigating 20. So they've only found 20 cases that are even worth continuing to investigate. They haven't convicted anybody of anything. They haven't brought charges to anybody. They're still investigating, right? And here we are. Yeah, it's like here we are 2 years later, and they haven't even come out and come to a conclusion of going like, hey, here's what's up. This is what's going on. His message is, we'll just let people come to their own conclusions. And you're like,
well, and that's the terrifying thing in Arizona for both the governor and the AG. Right. Because the guy who's not the current AG, but is running to be the current AG, is totally on that train. I won't certify. And the governor's like, I won't force them to. The chick who's running for governor, the newscaster, Kathy, whatever. She's the same way.
Right.
And people think, oh, well, it's all about the Senate race. It's not just about the Senate race, folks. Your local races are so uber important.
It's, the Senate race is important, but you got to vote on your local representation. Like in Washington State, District 3, there is currently a guy running. This guy named Joe Kent is running against Marie Gluesenkamp. That guy, Joe Kent, is endorsed by the American Neo-Nazi Party, right? And he's winning.
Why does that not surprise me?
Because he's a tall white guy who was in the military, who's not even from Washington. He's from Oregon, right? And he's showed up to run in this Washington district that, and
had to be Oregon or Idaho.
Yeah, I mean, the weird thing is that like he's a guy that can't even name who he works for. In all these interviews, he's gotten the name of who he works for wrong. And no one can find the company that he works for. He's literally a guy who's just financed by mystery money, who showed up and is running for this seat in a district where he says that His opinion is he's going to take all of the money from that comes into that county, and he's going to fund constitutional sheriffs.
Yes.
He's going to
Which
take
is
away.
all I have on my ballot, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yep, and he's going to take away local police. He's going to take away local police that are accountable for their actions and what they do, and essentially put in these sheriffs that can sort of operate autonomously within the area that they've been assigned to.
They've held on and carved out the very last part of the Old West Code of Law.
Right. And what's going to end up happening is that they'll put constitutional sheriffs in. There might be one guy who's qualified, but then what those guys do is they end up appointing deputies, which
Who are not.
who
Any
are
issue.
these guys? Who are these deputies, right? And that was one of the big issues with Lauren Culp, who ran for governor, who was a sheriff, and
Yeah, he carried my county.
one of his deputies, allegedly, I guess, I'm not 100% sure on how whatever it is, but allegedly one of his deputies was had a romantic relationship, I guess we'll put it that way, with an underage woman, and Lauren Culp helped cover it up from what is allegedly, right? In which he would never answer any questions about any of that. And then, of course, he was the guy that was propped up to run for governor. And it was like, what experience do you have? And it's like, oh, well, I've been a sheriff. And it's like, of what? One deputy.
Republic of
Yeah.
all places, which is a beautiful town, don't get me wrong.
Beautiful
And
town, great people,
they're-
but yeah.
They're running a huge write-in campaign for him in Okanagan. It's all over the local groups.
And it's pretty wild. Yeah.
It's really sad. And I can't wait to shoot it out of the water.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. If Brazil is any kind of indicator, hopefully things will be. Hopefully, we'll have a good showing here in this midterm. Bolsonaro is out.
Wondering what
Bolsonaro lost his election, and De Silva is back in as their new president.
So what does Silver Creek mean specifically about giving the law back to the land in this instance?
I don't know. I don't know what that statement even means. So what are your thoughts on giving the law back to the land? I have no idea what that means. But if it's libertarian nonsense that you're coming up with, there's no way any of the libertarian ideology has anything to do with any civilized society. Anytime I've had long discussions with libertarians, it is always boiled down to whoever the strong man is with the gun gets his way. And I don't think that that's any way to operate in any kind of society, let alone a modern society at all.
Yeah, society can't live in a permanent shit hits the fan solution.
No.
Or time, so. Which is
Everybody
exactly.
only owns the bit of road that's directly in front of their house and builds that.
Right.
But
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I already live in something that feels like that because I live surrounded by open range. So if I don't fence and the cattle come in and destroy my property, I'm the one on the hook, et cetera, et cetera. So it's, it's interesting. That's the power of lobbies.
So Silver Creek says not regulating agriculture, giving it back to the farmers, not letting land-involved stuff be controlled by corporations. Well, agriculture 100% has to be regulated. There's no way to allow agriculture to be unregulated. Okay, that is ridiculous. Giving it back to the farmers, I don't know why we would give anything to farmers at all. Like, I mean, I would like there to be small farms. You guys know I've talked about this 100%. I've talked about this over and over again, that the backbone of American culture is small farms, small businesses, small, small application, especially throughout large swaths of America. Where does that come from? A lot of that comes from union organization, because you can't allow corporations to overuse the labor and abuse the labor that is working for them. And saying dude regulated agriculture is the problem with agriculture that's not an argument. You've literally just circled your own argument. But the current regulation is that subsidies go to large corporations depending on how much land they have. They're allowed to collect a lot of subsidies, just the same that the small farmers are. What has happened is that the small farmers have run off their own children, okay? The small farmers for generation after generation have run their children off of the farm because they never applied themselves to giving their children a position to move forward in life, right? So if we time travel back a very short period of time, let's go back to World War II. World War II gets done, guys get out, they have a GI Bill, they take the GI Bill, they buy a small plot, they build a house, they start a farm. They start farming that land. You travel 20 years in the future when their kids are now 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, right? Those kids had to leave because the parents were not done working yet, because oftentimes they were 38 to 45 years old. So those kids left to go figure out what they could do. They would probably go to college, or they would go to a city to go find something to do. Now, 20 years goes by again. Now, the farmer that was there originally is ready to retire, but their kids that all left have spent 20 years building their own lives somewhere else, so they don't want to go back to a farm. What does that farmer that's retiring do? Well, I got to sell this farm to somebody. Somebody has to take over this farm. They end up selling it to a corporation. All the other small farms now increase in value because there's been a sale of a farm. That sale of that farm increases the value of the land so that anybody who might want to be immigrating from a big city to take over a farm can't afford to do it because the farm becomes too expensive. So you're talking now, fast forward to that happening over and over again. We're in the year 2022. If somebody who has an agricultural degree, who went to the UW, who knows how to do all of the things at a farm, they go out to see if they could try to buy in on a farm. It's $3.4 million to buy a dairy farm in Grand Mountain, Washington, that only has 100 acres of land and about 150 cows. Anybody graduating college have $1.5 million in their pocket to go take over a farm? Nope. Is there any loan that could be applied to that person to take over a farm? Nope. No bank would ever do that. So, yes, we do need restructuring in what's going on. We can't allow corporations to continue to buy these farms where the farmers themselves are actually aging out. But realistically, what ended up happening that should have been applied is that there were immigrant workers and immigrant families coming to those towns year after year after year after year who were vilified for being Mexicans, who could have taken over those farms, had children there, and continued the American dream. But those people were never allowed to buy in. They were always just migrant workers. And I've seen it time and time again, as much as people like to go, oh, we're not racist here. I spent a lot of time in Eastern Washington where if you spoke Spanish, you were Mexican. It didn't matter if you were from Chile or Peru or Venezuela or Guatemala or Ecuador or Colombia or Uruguay. Didn't matter. All those people were Mexican and they got treated like garbage. So, yeah.
Well, and the other
it is something that I am very involved in, and it is a project that I've been working on for a very long time to try and help communicate that to something. But more often than not, if I try to talk to people about agriculture in this country, I immediately get lambasted with, oh, there's a regulation where I can't do a thing. Yeah, guess what? You can't throw your gasoline out on the ground on somebody and have the rainwater wash it down into somebody else's yard. That's against the law. You can't do that. Yes, that's a regulation.
3,000 cattle in a space for 500 per days on them.
Yeah, I mean, there are regulations are in place because somebody broke those rules. They were a rule at one point. They ended up having to be a regulation because somebody had to enforce that regulation so that people would stop doing it, right? Yeah. It says that you're not going to learn farming from a college. Okay, like why does 4A exist, and why does 4A
Somebody
get
needs
people
to
ready
do
to
that.
get people ready to go to college, right? Like, where do veterinarians come from? Like, like all of the agricultural systems that exist now are GPS driven by machines that are hyper complicated. That seed rotation of crop, what materials you can and can't use on property that will or will not give you cancer or whatnot. Of course. Oh my God. Like, yes, modern day agriculture, it is required for people to, you have to go to college. You have to get some kind of knowledge. You can't just, I learned it by standing over here through osmosis, pushing a shovel into the ground, right? That's not how anything works these days. And by the way, if you have a farmer that's going to take over 10,000 acres of land or something to start doing a business, right? Like, why wouldn't you want them to have knowledge of business?
Right.
Why wouldn't you want them to have knowledge of how to do your
Function
taxes,
against these
how to do your tax,
corporations.
how are you going to pay your B&O taxes, right? If you're like a farmhand who's only ever milked a cow before, right? Like, you can't, okay, I don't know. I mean, it's, yeah, neither here nor there.
So I will say that a big part of this is getting just people to change their way of thinking about all this, because we haven't done that yet. We
Right.
just take what's fed to us. I mean, there are people, oh, good Lord, sorry for the IV noise in the background. There are people who have no clue about where their food comes from that are in their 30s and 40s that I encounter all the time.
Right.
And I will say that one of the silver linings, if such thing can be said, as we get further and further away from COVID, is that people are starting to take an even closer look at what they can do for self-sustainability. And, you know, if you're interested in farming Silver Creek, get enough people up to buy 100 acres and be the small farmer that you want to. Okay, good. I'm awesome. And I know who Joel Salatin is.
I know who Joel Salatin is. I've watched all of his YouTube videos. Yes, I'm well aware of how he uses chicken tractors to move chickens around, how he moves his fencing around, because he's revolutionized growing grass. It's great. It's great. Joel Salatin is an amazing guy, but he also has an incredibly dark past that you should probably look into instead of just taking him at face value. Maybe do a little research and come to a conclusion. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit
fired up.
I'm a little bit fired up right now because I would love to have a conversation with somebody who hasn't already made up their mind. That's why I love having conversations with people when I could have an opportunity to do that. But it's like, I've been farming my whole life. You can't go to college to learn anything. Look, people with expertise are at college, right? That is just a fact. People with vetted expertise, people with biology backgrounds, people who have actually studied and are teaching people how to do things, how to apply stuff.
Genetics of plants.
Right. And okay, I don't know. I'm feeling cranky right now, but like here's like a perfect application. Vicky has breast cancer. Where am I going to go to get treated for that? Right? I'm going to go to the people who have expertise in doing that, right? And
not the people that survived it.
Yeah, I'm not going to go to the people that had it. Like, oh, hey, what do we do? Oh, well, you don't die. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's great. Like currently right now, there's an avian flu running through all of our bird agriculture, right? How are they going to combat that? Is it just you go find somebody who was around during the plague or whatever and like, hey, what'd you guys do? Oh, you burned everything. Okay. I guess that's how we're going to handle it, guys. I guess burn everything, guys. Burn it all. The guy from before, he said to burn it. I don't know. That's what he said, guys. Yeah. So, yeah. And the old way, it's like the old way is the Oklahoma Dust Bowl, right? Like, that's the old way. The old way is run the ground until it is barren, and then you can't even stand there anymore, right? That's the old way. The old way is abuse the land until it is dead, and then everyone dies because there's nothing to eat. That's the old way, right? Like, we count on so many things in this day and age as being a part of society, right? Here's an example. I use a cell phone every day. Do I know how to build one? No, not even remotely. I probably couldn't even make you a screen that lit up into one color, right? I use a cell phone every day. I must know everything about it. I constantly use it all the time. I know, right? Like, no. I have experience using cell phones. It doesn't mean I know how to make them or make them work on a network or anything like that. You know, and, but it's like if I wanted to learn how to make one, you know, I wouldn't go find the guy at the Foxconn factory and be like, hey, you assemble these. You know how to make them, right? You know how to do all this stuff? It's like, oh, I assemble it. Yeah. No, I'd want to go find an expert in electronic engineering and learn how to do it, right?
Silver Creek, may I ask how much land you farm? Because what you're describing is awesome, but on a corporate level, the size that things like General Mills or whatever the other big one that starts with M that I can't pull out of my brain right now does, they can't do and won't do those organic, easy, natural ways because it doesn't allow for a profit. Now, if you want to talk about taking corporations out of farming and then talk about changing regulations, I'm totally behind you with that conversation, but not the one you're trying to have here.
Right. I mean, you can drive through all of Eastern Washington and look at all or Missouri or Kansas or whatever state you want to drive through. You can drive through them, and you can see all of the old farmhouses that are now occupied by hourly employees. The people don't even live there anymore. Because you can drive up to the gate and realize, like, oh, this is an agricon property. Because they have to put it out on the sign out there. And there's a little house, there's a house over there, and a barn, and a garage, and a this and a that. And you go, like, that's not an agricon property. Agricon property is steel buildings that they put up, so it's got to be somewhere, right? Yeah. And but you realize it's just that, like, the old farmhouse and all this property has been absorbed into a large corporation. So a big part of what I am lobbying for is the ability to restrict the subsidies to a certain amount of land, right? That you can't exceed X amount of thousands of acres on your homestead or your corporate farm or whatever. You have to subdivide that land up so that people can actually have an opportunity to move in without allowing the conglomerate to just own so much land that it eventually becomes
a feudal system
out of hand. And by the way, like, there is a lot of there's a lot of this in this country of back in the day we used to do it so much better, right? Back in the day we didn't do anything better, right? There's a reason why we do a lot of things the way we do them now is because we improved on the old way and to create a better process. Like, that's how humans operate. And I remember I was talking about this a while back that there was a study done on humans improving their own living space, right? Because we create an environment for us as opposed to adapting to the environment, right? If it's 40 below outside, we build a building and light a fire and get inside there and don't freeze to death. We don't grow fur all over our bodies and be able to just lay down in the snow like a dog, right? And so one of the things that they were trying to study was, well, if the incentive to improve your property or your living space was taken away, what would that look like? And so there was a subject case that they utilized to figure this out was death row inmates, right? Somebody who has been sentenced to 300 years in prison and is going to be executed at some point. That person really has no incentive to take care of themselves or their property or where they're living or anything like that. And strangely enough, those people, they'd put art on the walls. They would maintain their space as best as they could. They're doing push-ups and sit-ups and working out and doing all this stuff that would improve
Take part in programs?
their space, right? Like their living space. They're not going to get more space. They're not going to get more things. They're not going to get anything. But they would spend a lot of their energy making it nicer where they were at, even though they had no incentive, no future of going anywhere, right? And that's a big part of like human nature is to continue to improve, and we've continued to improve over this history that we have. And you know, there's this weird thing in America that like there was a point in time where the land was free and wild and untamed, and a bunch of people went out with rifles and shot every buffalo they could find and stacked the skulls stories and stories high because they wanted the tongues and the tongues only, because it was a fad to eat buffalo tongue. That's why they killed all of the buffalo.
We still have that in modern day world with sharks and whales, and
Right.
we know that they're cognizant and endangered. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Silver Creek Aquatic says that sounds communist.
Heaven forfend.
I don't know. I'm sure that like everything sounds communist nowadays, depending on the lens that you look through it, or that you're looking through. But that's not really like. It's not really the insult that you think it is, right? If I told you that communists deeply loved their family and took care of everybody around them and did all these things, you'd be like, oh, that's communist. Oh, you're like,
That's a kibbutz.
would you throw that away? Like, because it's communist? Like, this is the United States. You want to take all of the elements from any system and incorporate them to make it better. That's what our founding document says in it. Like, this thing is supposed to be amended as time goes by and we learn new information, right? Even the guys that wrote the Federalist Papers knew that. You're supposed to evolve and continue to improve on the processes that we have established in 1776. They were like, this thing is not as good as it could be, but here's how you make it better. You do the amendments. Yeah, here they are. You could do them. So go ahead and do that when the time comes. Yeah.
We'll do the first few.
What's that?
We'll do the first few,
Right.
which you'll completely ignore, by the way, but totally secondary.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, so, you know, back to my main point is that, like, there needs to be more farmers. There needs to be more people involved. The last time I checked, we had gone down from 1.7 million people involved in agriculture to 1.1 million people, and that is a dramatic drop. And a lot of that has to do with automation, admittedly. But the individual farmer owners, that number is dropped big time and needs to come back up, because we should all be shooting for some kind of ownership. That's what we would want, and that's what we should want for our neighbors. You know, like ownership of your means for upward movement and whatnot is very important, and one of the ways to do that is to break up corporations. I mean, you should definitely be breaking up Facebook, right? I mean, I've been screaming about that for far too long now, well over a decade, right? You're talking about one guy who owns Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and all of the other little companies that have come up. They've all been gobbled up by one weird alien guy. You got another weird alien guy from South Africa who has bought up Twitter, and then you got one other weird alien guy from Washington State who owns the Washington Post, now broadcasts the NFL, now broadcasts all this other stuff, and you go like, this ain't good. This is bad news. This is very, very bad, because guess what? The United States has been here before, okay? Just go look up the Carnegies. Just go look up the Rockefellers. Just go look up all those scumbags that gobbled up all of the corporations and all of the wealth that they possibly could, and we're there again, right?
Yeah, I don't disagree that government overreach exists, but here's why: because they're getting paid, and they're getting paid by corporations. Go break up the corporations and let the politicians work for the people again.
Right.
Not corporations posing as people.
Right.
That was the worst part of Citizens United. Corporations are people. No, they're not. They are not. We are people. Lobbyists should all be herded out and put into pens somewhere with the cattle.
Well, I
We
don't
can
know about
regulate
any
them.
of that. Yeah, I don't know about any of that. But,
Sorry.
I believe in the Citizens United because of the reasons for why for why the Supreme Court ruled in the way that they did. And the way that they did was, so if you think about it this way, like, let's say I came out with the documentary 3 months before Hillary was the election for Hillary and Trump, right?
Okay.
And I came out with the documentary, and it was just a documentary about Hillary Clinton, whether it was positive or negative, doesn't matter.
Right.
But let's say I came out with that documentary. Technically, I could be put into prison if they hadn't ruled in favor of Citizens United. I could have gone to prison because I would have been doing like political tampering, even if like I just made this right. So that's why they ended up having to rule that way. Like,
Should have been covered under.
Yeah, is that like they do have to protect the individual rights first and foremost, right? So
Yes, the individual rights, but not corporations as individuals.
Right, but
Hobby Lobby is not an individual.
Right. So let's say that, I don't know, I can't even think of a local business, but let's say there was a local business that sponsored me making that documentary, right? All of a sudden now that business is in trouble, and I'm in trouble just for having made a documentary, right? So that's why they had to rule that way, because the law would still extend no matter how big your corporation is, right? But one of my reasons for saying that, like, the removal of subsidies for a certain amount of land ownership is you could still own that land. You can still own above and beyond. You just can't get a subsidy. You just don't get a tax break for the land above a certain number, right? To just disincentivize the ownership of this outrageous amount of land. You can't get more land. There is no more land to get, right? There is no manifest destiny. I can't just like go west and put my flag in the ground and go, "Aha, I own the land here now." We have satellite imaging with very specific property lines drawn out. Like, we know of all the land. There's no secret land anywhere, and you're not going to get any more of it, which is why I find it to be pretty important that you could go, here is a regulatory number of the amount of land we have doesn't change, or at least has a very small margin of error, and to go like, this is how we're going to regulate the amount of ownership in regards to an individual corporate entity, right? And it might be 50,000 acres or 100,000 acres or whatever it is. But guess what? You would want experts to come in and do some analysis to figure out like what would work and what wouldn't work. And also you'd want the experience of local farmers and stuff like that. But yeah, you don't, it wouldn't, it just, the system, the way that it's working right now, it needs to be changed. But it's not going to change unless we can actually get the political efficacy to do that. And the unfortunate thing is that we're not, certain representation in this country is not in favor of a benefit for the people, right?
Right. Gotcha.
Mitch McConnell has on
He's such a
multiple
nerd
occasions.
into all this. You don't need to get sucked into.
Well, I'm
Sorry.
just saying.
No,
Mitch
I
Mitch
need
McConnell.
to excuse myself.
Right.
My assistant or my wound care team is here, and
Oh yeah.
they're already chiming into what you're saying. But you probably don't need two more yet fine voices. So, good afternoon, guys. Thank
Love you.
and
Get better.
love you too. Joel, take it over.
All right.
Hug
See
the
ya.
wife or the girl and kiddo.
Oh yeah.
Bye.
So one of the big issues that I have is that Mitch McConnell is a very high up representative in a political party in this country, and has on multiple occasions over multiple years come out to say that he's going to oppose anything that is proposed. Anything, regardless of what it is. And that is reason enough for me to say, hey, this is not a political party that has the people's interest at heart. If you're going to oppose anything, no matter what it is, and those are his words, not mine, I'm going to obstruct anything that is proposed. That is what he spoke on multiple occasions over multiple years, right? It's not just one time. If that's the agenda, then that stagnation is just what's leading us to fall behind and fall behind and fall behind. So, yeah, I don't know. It's 4:00 though. Alyssa, are you still here? She's muted herself.
I suddenly came down with a case of the hiccups, and I was like hiccuping into the microphone, and I was like, okay, that's not good.
That is awesome.
But
Yeah.
it seems to have cleared. And I think that Mitch McConnell should lose his job.
Yeah, so Chris Howell is saying that Chris Howell is sort of reiterating what I was saying, that land prices have been getting out of hand for the normal working guys to get into farming, and the price of housing is doing the same. Yep. Here in Kansas, and people from out of area are using housing and property just like the stock market. Yeah, I mean, that's realistically like a lot of what has been happening over the years, and I was describing that mechanism from the people that I've interviewed through a bunch of the research that I've been doing to try and figure out like how we got to the point where these big agro companies are utilizing millions of acres of land, and yet the people have no access to it, and also researching like what is the mechanism that we could apply, right? And government subsidies are tax dollars. Those are our money. That's our money. So we can apply yes or no whether or not that money goes to these things, and we can use our voice to do that. So you can't just like get some arms and go out and take the land back from the corporation. Like, it just doesn't work. It's illegal, and you'll go to jail, and that's not good for anybody. I don't want anybody going to jail, so why would we bother to even do that?
Yeah. Would that be considered assault or armed robbery?
I think it's even worse than that. I think it's some kind of terrorism or something. I'm not 100% sure.
I think it depends on who your judge is.
Oh, Just Bob says, message from the Netherlands. enjoy not living in a country the size of a handkerchief with 16 million people in it. Interesting to see the different issues that crop up in different countries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been to the Netherlands. You guys are not as crowded, I think. It's not as crowded there as you would think. But, yeah, I mean, I understand, like, people with in smaller countries are kind of going like, hey, what are these guys complaining about? But, yeah.
Well, isn't the Netherlands also on reclaimed land from the sea? Like
Yeah,
they've-
there's a lot of land that's just below sea level there. They have a very
Yeah.
interesting system.
they got the dikes and everything
Yeah.
holding it all back.
All right, guys. I just want everybody to know that I love you all. I'm not mad at anybody. Just so everybody knows that I'm not mad. If anybody wants to continue this conversation, feel free to send me an email at whatever my email is. Joel@darkstararts.com, I think, is the one that is on the YouTube page. Or if you're a member, come over to the Discord. We can chat back and forth, that kind of stuff. Especially if you become a member or a patron, or if you were gifted a membership, you can come over. Check the community tab for info on that. Let's thank Alyssa. Thank you, Alyssa.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh yeah, and let's thank Rebecca for coming out, and hope that Rebecca makes a swift recovery and gets to go hang out with her dogs in her cabin and get everything back to normal. Big thank you to who gifted today? I forgot. Rumbust
Aubrey.
gifted and Aubrey gifted today. So we had 6 gifted memberships, which gets us 2 closer to 100. We're almost in the triple digits, guys. I don't know. Can we do it? I don't have to be live for you to gift it. There's a button somewhere that you can push and blah, 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 blah. And people say, hey, stop promoting your own channel. And I say, cool. Good story, Chief. I have to promote my own channel because nobody else does it for me. So, yeah, we have to go like, hey, become a member and subscribe and the like button and all that stuff. So, yes, I'm a bit of a crazy person, but if you do want to have a scheduled debate or whatever, we can set that up if that's something that you like. Like I said, shoot me an email and a time and a frame and a schedule and a blah, 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 and we can figure that out too. So, I will talk to you guys next week on this, whatever this show is.